Hi, I'm Dave Atkinson, and welcome to Life on the Straight. Please take a moment to listen to the song My Caregiver. It is now available on music stores and streaming services including Apple Music, Amazon, Spotify, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube Music, iHeartRadio, iTunes, Pandora, TikTok, and many others. I've also placed the music video under my Creative Projects playlist. While I wrote the lyrics and determined how the overall music would sound, the AI-powered service Suno provided me with the studio musicians to make it happen. Had it not been for that, the inspiration of this song would have remained locked inside my head. Our journey with cancer began in the spring of 2018 and ended a year later. While I touched on some of the key elements in My Caregiver, the truth is that a 4-minute song cannot come close to relaying what took place before, during, and after that time. For those of you who are interested in the entire story, I plan on releasing it a little at a time, day by day, beginning now.
Life had been so bountiful with cars and boats and travel.
The opening scenes in the video are of our front yard. My wife Amy and I live about halfway between the small cities of Port Angeles and Sequim, Washington, in the northwest section of our state known as the Olympic Peninsula. Port Angeles is on the doorstep of the beautiful Olympic National Park. Our backyard looks out over the Strait of Juan de Fuca, with Victoria, British Columbia, Canada roughly 20 miles away across the water. We found this little piece of heaven after returning back to our state after spending a little over 2 years on the road, racking up 43,375 miles in the process, with our motorhome and tow car taking in the sights of our amazing country. We had also visited Canada and Mexico. We have been full-timers. As we departed from Kingston, Washington, our home had a for sale sign on it, and after a huge garage sale, what we chose to keep and couldn't take with us fit into a small storage locker that we rented. That's the travel part of the lyric. As far as the cars and boats go, we have chosen to buy our cars new, with the exception of our first motorhome, which turned out to be a lemon, and then keep them well maintained and for a long time. Our first boat was a used 26-foot Sea Ray Sundancer, which we later traded for a new 32-foot Bayliner Avante cabin cruiser. When we later sold it, we bought a couple of kayaks, which were great fun. We moved into our home in mid-2016, and by early 2017, we had hired an architect as the first step towards a major remodel. While the property was stunning, the house was not so much. It was 26 years old, but portions have been pieced together over the years by previous owners, and not always in a good way. Also, the full basement was unfinished, and we wanted to have it complete. Then something happened in April of 2017 that most likely changed everything.
Like a bolt out of the blue, it would all soon unravel. My left leg was hurting me a little more each day. I finally drove to town to hear what my doctor had to say.
I had joined a senior bowling league in Port Angeles, and a fluke injury occurred in early April of 2017. A fellow bowler had left a glass with ice and pop below one of the seats, which is a no-no. The condensation from the cup had pooled, and after I had bowled and sat down, my left shoe had gotten wet. Not knowing that, the next time I bowled, when I went to slide as I delivered my ball, the left shoe just stuck to the floor. My momentum carried me out into the alley where I took an awkward fall. Getting up, I could tell that something wasn't right. The next day I drove into Paulsbo to see my doctor. Scans determined that I had some torn muscles in my left thigh. The soreness soon became a noticeable bump, and I was sent to see someone in Sequim for a few weeks of physical therapy sessions. I was told that calcium had built up, and they actually used a wooden rolling pin to break up the deposits and shrink the bump. It seemed to work. In September, we took our motorhome on a month-long trip to Utah, and I was able to hike to the bottom of Bryce Canyon and back up with no pain. As February and March of 2018 rolled in, Amy and I were outside busying ourselves with plenty of strenuous yard work. I can't put my finger on the day, but I began to feel a soreness in my left thigh after a day of work. In time, my left thigh was getting bigger, right around where my old bowling injury had occurred. Did I tear it open again? Did a hematoma form within the scar tissue of my injury, with the pooling blood unable to escape? On April 16th, I went back into Paulsbo to see my general practitioner, Dr. Hadley. What he did that day saved my life. After taking x-rays once again, he suggested that I have an MRI scan done. Now, we had catastrophic insurance at the time with a large deductible. I knew that MRI scans were expensive, and I tried to steer his concern towards a hematoma rather than something more serious. I mean, from my perspective, it just made sense. The swelling was in the exact same place as my previous injury. It had to be that I just aggravated the old injury, right? Well, Dr. Hadley stood his ground. In fact, he called down to an orthopedic specialist in Silverdale, and even though it was late afternoon, talked him into squeezing me in as long as I left Paulsbo immediately. After examining my leg, the orthopedic doctor strongly suggested that I spend the money for an MRI scan, and after I reluctantly agreed, scheduled it for the 25th. After the scans were complete, the consulting doctor had gone home, but the tech shared with us photos of the scan. She said that they had never seen anything quite like it. It was as if a large water balloon had been embedded into the muscles of my thigh. It was not a hematoma from my old injury, but something completely different.